Hello and welcome to the Exiles podcast. This is a podcast we talk all things Newport County, and I'm your host Harrison Kidd. I am also joined by
Luke Hawkins
and Garen Scathens.
Obviously, this is the second episode. Our first episode we had Owen with us, but sadly he's fallen ill. So we still got three of us to move. First of all, obviously, since our last episode, we had 2 games. Well, Newport have had 2 games, one against Tranmere, one against Stevenage. We'll have a quick brief chat about those games. So, first of all, Tranmere, Newport won 1-0. Jana, the new loan signing, 20 years old, came from Bristol. With Ryan Taylor out now, there seems to be competition for a striking spot with that Tristan Abrahams. Obviously, you have Padre Lamond, Ellison, the new signing Proctor. So I'll go to you, Luke. How do you think Jana played? And obviously scoring the only goal of the game. Do you think he put his name forward to get that starting position with Tristan Abrahams up front?
well, he scored the main goal, obviously, but I don't think Tranmere offered too much more during the course of the game. They had a player sent off early second half, so that would have, they probably sitting back and just absorbing pressure. But he did well to poach the goal from the corner. But afterwards, I don't think Liverpool created they created chances, but they could only get the 1-0 win. And Jana's put his name in contention definitely with his goal because he won the game.
And Michael Flynn came out after the game and said the sprinklers weren't working before the game. So obviously, pitch's going to be dry. We said this last week that Newport have play a different style this season. So Garen, I'll go to you for this one. With the pitch being dry, Newport trying to play from the back. How do you think that actually affected Newport's style of play? And obviously they got a win, but do you think it changed their style at all, or?
It wouldn't have been helpful with the ball being able to move a lot quicker along the surface because it's not what you're used to with it coming a bit quicker. And if it's a bit drier, there's a few more cracks in there. Then there may be a bump here and there. The ball could fly off anywhere. But again, as Luke said, it's Tranmere didn't really trouble them anyway, let alone before the red card because they didn't even have a single shot on target the entire game. So they were never really troubling them. They never really had much possession of the ball either. So I think getting the early lead, I think that was probably something they discussed before, but it's probably something pivotal for the game. It was something a bit unusual with the pitch surface. So to get that early lead, and it was not comfortable, but it was an easier game plan from there on out, put it that way.
Yeah, and I think it shows that obviously we spoke last week about the game at Cambridge. The pitch was not the best, obviously, we all know that. And this week they've had to, in both games, had to change their style. And if Newport do want to get promoted this season, which we will speak about later in this episode, I think it shows that they can change their style and win games still. Obviously winning 1-0, but Cambridge, they lost the game, but in this game they did change their style to what they normally used to before or in the past seasons, and they still won the game.
That screams going up. That does. Just form is everything when it comes to building momentum, and even if you're not comfortable for the games and you're still managing to get results, then that's everything you need, isn't it?
Yeah. So obviously we'll have a quick chat about the Stevenage game as well. Although Stevenage did have their chances, Newport won 1-0 away from home. Stevenage had their chances, quite a few, but I thought that the back three of Brandon Cooper, Matty Dolan and Dimitriou, I think they did look very solid. Obviously, it's their 5th clean sheet of the season. So, Luke, how do you think Matty Dolan has actually adapted to playing centre half now? Because obviously he used to be a centre mid. He's good at bringing the ball out of defence. So how do you think he has adapted?
It's gone quite well. Newport aren't really conceding too many goals. So yeah, I think they're solid at the back. Obviously, as a midfielder, he has the ability to play ball from the back as well. And yeah, he fits into like quite a flexible system that Newport seem to have now. They also during the game they changed the system to make it more defensive as the game went on. With the substitutes of Scott Twain coming off, and then Wilmot came on for Jana as well late on, and it shored up their defence.
Yeah. Also, a thing that I picked up on from the game, and I've seen Michael Flynn also said it post game. The duo of Abrahams and Jana, I thought they set the tone for the match. The way they caused carnage for the centre backs of Stevenage. So, Garen, how do you think those two played together as a duo?
They did everything they needed to do pretty much, because you can say again with getting the early penalty, you'd think it'd be much like what we were talking about with the Tranmere game, where you'd want to just sit back and try and control the game and have as much possession as you want. But as well, it takes a quick glance at the possession to say it's pretty much 50-50. I think it was just 1% either way. But then you see the amount of chances that Stevenage had as well, because they had a lot of them. To still be able to have that much of an impact on the game when the team is trying to chase you down, and it's not just you sitting on the ball, it says everything you need to, really. They're doing everything they need to do to just make defences uncomfortable.
Obviously, we spoke last week about Tristan Abrahams being on fire this season. He scored a pen in that game, but obviously, if he's good if he's fit all season, we spoke about this last week. I personally think if he's firing all season, they can push for promotion. But I did read an article recently. It was by Chris Kerwin on the South Wales Argus, and it was Michael Flynn saying it's not a Newport promotion push yet. It's obviously early days. So I'm gonna put this out to all of us. What's your thoughts on Michael Flynn saying that? And we spoke last week about where we think Newport can get promotion, but what's your thoughts on him saying it's not a promotion push yet?
Well, I can understand the conservations behind that, because you never want to build something up and hype it up too quickly and then get everyone overexcited and then fall short. It's just going to be irritating. But no one's ever going to publicly say that. But again, it's like we said earlier, with getting the results, just getting those wins when it's just 1-0s or 2-1s or things like that, it's what you need. So as long as they have the momentum, I think even between themselves, like they have the belief if they just keep building these scores up.
Yeah, I think he has reservations to a lot of people when it comes to Newport County this season, because although they're going well now, they have come from a mid-table position last season, and anything can happen with like injuries and stuff like that. But their form looks really strong, and they are, as Garen said, they're nicking games now where maybe they're not playing the best and everything. And I think the flexibility, they're able to change their formation and bring on different players for different situations as well. That's really good for that level of football.
Yeah, I think last season there was they did draw a lot of 1-1s. And, if they change those 1-1s into 1-0s, which they are this season, they could have climbed at the table. Obviously, you said they finished 14th last season. But obviously, Michael Flynn's going to come out and say that. We all know it's early days, and you never know what's going to happen in the league. Obviously, one of the big players like Tristan Abrahams could get injured. So we'll have to wait and see further down the line, see what happens. Obviously, they're going well so far. But now we're going to move on. This is going to be a weekly thing we do. It's called the Exiles on Twitter, and it's going to be tweets about what the fans think, and we're going to post them on here and show you what you think and our opinions on your tweet. So, Luke, do you want to go first? You picked up a tweet.
At Callum Thomas on Twitter commented on the signing of Aaron James Lewis, and he made the point that there are now 3 right backs in the side, and Liam Shepherd is playing really well out there, so he probably wouldn't be dropped. But in my opinion, it's a good signing for depth, because he can also play left back, and he's played for Swansea in the under 23s, so he's got like decent experience at a high level, even if it's not at a senior level. He only made 7 appearances for Doncaster last season, but it is just that depth signing, isn't it?
Yeah, I think in the past Newport have played games and not been able to bring subs on that can change the game. I'm not saying he can change the game, but you can't go wrong with a good amount of squad depth. A classic example of that was the playoff final against Tranmere, funny enough. They lost 1-0, obviously, but the subs they brought on, I don't think were good enough subs. I think that was the reason they didn't get promoted that season. Obviously, the squad depth wasn't as good as what it is now. So
I'd add to that as well. With as you said earlier about the clean sheets they've had this season, if they've had 5 or so already, and they're bringing in more defenders just to have that squad depth, I mean, you can't really complain about that, can you? It's just more strength.
No, I don't think you can, especially in the Football League, games come thick and fast, and with the pandemic this season, I don't think you can go wrong with enough squad depth. Garen, do you want to read your tweet out?
Yeah. We got a tweet here from Dom, who was commenting on the signing of Jamie Devitt, who was saying basically he's a great signing and he's always impressed against us. So he's happy with the signing of him. But the one thing I would say is he's coming on loan, and it's only until January, as far as I'm aware. So the impact he may have will be quite short unless they look to extend that in the future. But again, right now, if not starting, it is very much squad depth, and that is exactly what they need to carry on building this momentum forward. I agree.
Yeah, that's sort of similar to my tweet. I got a tweet from Elliot Jervis. I think he's a Rotherham fan, but it's about the signing of Jamie Proctor. And it says Jamie Proctor is a class player and good luck for the season Newport. Obviously, he's also a loan player until the 17th of January. I think that is literally a signing to replace Taylor, because it's until the 17th. He played National League with Fly last season. Didn't get too many goals, but he's only in here until January. So I think that just shows how much Flinney and the backroom staff do believe they need the squad depth this season. One player gets injured for up to 7 to 12 weeks, and they bring someone else in. I think that shows how much they think squad depth is important this season.
The whole deadline day movements are just emphasising that further and further. It's just nothing spectacular, nothing like unbelievable signing sort of thing here, but still, it's the small things that you need to just keep building and building and building.
Yeah, when I went to go on, Luke, you say something?
Oh no, I was just going to say, like, they're all established players at like League 1 or League 2 level, so they're just good free and loan signing.
Yeah. When I went to when me and Owen went to the recent Newport County press conference, it was on deadline day, and at the start of the press conference, I think it was Rob Phillips was talking to Flinney about the signings, potential signings at the time, and he said there's only one or two meant to be coming in, and obviously they brought three in. So I think that does probably show they thought we can get another player in, so we will, and that just shows the importance of squad depth for Newport this season.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, and obviously, last but not least, we'll talk about the game this weekend. Bradford away. Bradford are 14th. They played 6 games, won 2, drawn 3, and lost 1. But they have got a game in hand. They got a very nice stadium, lovely pitch, and this does mean County can play their football they want to play this season for once. The past few games obviously they haven't been able to, so hopefully we do see Newport playing the style they want to play this season. I think also going back to the press conference, I spoke to Josh Laverty as well, and he emphasised that the teams that have gone up in the past seasons, they do play good football, and that's how they've gone up. So hopefully they can play their football they want to play in this game. I'll put this out to both of you. Luke, I'll go to you first. How do you think the game will go for them this weekend?
I think it'll be. I think Newport have the edge, just because although Bradford have played decent opposition so far, they only lost 1-0 to Harrogate, for example, and they drew to Walsall as well, who are both like top 6 teams, aren't they? But against Stevenage, they could, although they won 2-1, Newport had the ability to shut Stevenage out, and even though late in the game they didn't get many chances and everything, they had that edge over Bradford's performance, I'd say. So I think they could just edge a win against Bradford.
Yeah, I would agree with that to an extent. I'd say one thing that does not strike nerves or anything, but it seems to be, even though there are no fans, at least in the stands at the moment for this season, home and away still has made a difference. The games at home have been easier, well, at least from what we've seen and statistically and all of that, home games do seem to be easier for them. And the away games is where they struggle a little more. So albeit with Bradford looking down in 14th, they do have that game in hand. And as Luke said, they've had decent results against good teams. So there's an element of fear there. There's, as much as it looks, if you just looked at league table, you think, it should be quite straightforward. But with everything that's going on with it, I'd still believe, like Luke said, they'll just edge it. But there is an element of this is a bit more of a nervy game than something to just walk straight through. But then recent momentum will help build the confidence up for that, I guess.
Yeah, and I think the fact they, like I said before, they play in a good stadium, lovely pitch. They can play the football that they have been playing, and with that football they've been able to, beat teams and compete against teams like in the Championship and the Premier League with that style of football. Obviously, you never know in football. Bradford could come and take a win, but I do generally think that Newport can win this game, and I think they will win the game. But you never know in football. Any last thoughts, boys? Or
no, I agree with what you both said right there. I think it will be a tight game, but yeah, I do think they will just edge it out.
Luke, anything or?
No, just Newport going to win, and they.
Yeah, so that's it. Well, that's all for today. This is our second episode. I hope to see you next week. This will be, we'll post it exactly the same time every week. Cheers for watching if you got this far, and thank you very much. See you in a bit.
Yeah.
See you later.